welcome to Massive Late Fee. And now your hosts, Mark and Carol. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Massive Late Fee. My name is Mark. With me as always is my girlfriend Carol. How you doing, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. We've had a good week here at Massive Late Fee. It is October 27th, 1995.
You know what that means.
It means that it's October 20th. What does it mean?
It means that your birthday and Halloween are both rapidly approaching.
That's true. We're going to do something special for Halloween.
It's a surprise.
We're going to do something special for my birthday, but not on the air.
Which is not a surprise.
No, not a surprise, but very enjoyable.
I surprised you last year.
You did.
I did. I shocked him with a party. It was awesome.
Yeah, and you know, shocked me later, too. When you attached the car batteries to my
being
nipples.
A pervert. You weirdo.
Speaking of weirdos, I have a letter here from a super fan.
Yay! I love mail.
Do you?
I do.
Well, this comes from our number one fan, Scott.
Yay, Scott.
Scott says, hi again. I love the new website. Thanks, Scott. I wait until there are a few episodes up, and then I download them, and kind of like eating at a buffet, I kind of binge them all one after another while I'm working on homework. That doesn't sound healthy, though. Does it, you know?
Sounds
binging.
Interesting.
Anyway, if I start downloading an episode before school, it is usually done when I get home, depending on how much my mom has to use the phone. That's true.
Yeah.
Our episodes on, obviously the tapes are, you know, you can pop them right in. But if you're trying to download the episode from the web through our website, I think it's like something like 240K of memory, so that it takes a few hours.
Yeah, it's kind of like downloading songs.
Yeah.
You know, you just come home from school and hope they're there.
Let's see. I am up to the episode when you talk about Casablanca. So a few episodes behind us, but that's all right. I talked to one of my teachers about it. She said she thinks it's romantic and that she cries at the end every time she sees it. Personally, the idea of someone my age making a girl that he likes watch some old black and white movie from like the 1830s seems really lame, and everyone at school would call him a geek, at least at my school. But old people seem to like the movie. I will admit, when my dad was watching it once, I saw the part where the bad guys were singing that weird song, and then the good guys sang over them with the other song. That was cool, I guess. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know.
I think you need to see the movie, but I gotta say too, it's, you know, Dylan's an old soul.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this comes from. Like, he's not a normal teenager.
It does seem like Andrea would be that's the person that should be watching.
Right.
Because she probably saw it in the theater when it was released.
Right.
Anyway, still loving the show. I haven't seen my cousin, the one who was passing out your tapes, since you made the website. However, I did get a letter from him saying he is doing great. That's good. And got in on a new, exciting opportunity for himself. Weirdly, he ended the letter by saying, Assalamu alaikum.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's about to create a new nation.
We'll have to keep tabs on that, Scott.
Well, I wish him well for creating the new nation. But
I guess it depends on what this new nation is like.
Always good to hear from you, Scott. The unofficial third member of the show, I think.
Yes, thank you, Scott. We got another letter from Liz.
I should point out that if you've written to us before, because other people have written to us besides Scott and Liz, we don't read every letter on the air. Sometimes they're more personally addressed to us, kind of, you know, questions or things like that. Sometimes they cover situations and circumstances that we might not want to talk about on the air.
Right.
Might not be appropriate for 1995 tapes.
But we do read them all, we do respond.
Carol,
if not on air, then we write you back.
Carol normally responds. So just, you know, if you haven't heard your letter, you've got a personal response from us. So
if you haven't heard your letter and you haven't gotten a personal response from us, please write us again and yell at me because that means I screwed up.
right.
All right. So we got Liz. Hey, what's up? Carol, I hate to do this to you, but you did talk about Lois and Clark. It wasn't in depth, and it was back when you used to do 2 shows each episode. You did Step by Step that episode. It was The Chase, episode 10.
That was a long time ago.
It was. And good job, Liz, remembering that. There's no way. That's way too long for my brain.
So if we did Step by Step, I think that was the episode where Frank takes Carol to the honeymoon suite or something. Yeah.
But I don't remember anything about the Lois and Clark episode because I don't think I watched it.
I think it had to do with there was a girl and Lois was jealous, even though they're not technically dating or something. I don't know.
She says, absolutely love your show, though, and I totally agree that Luke Perry is better looking. Thanks for the laughs, Liz.
Nice.
Thanks, Liz.
We definitely appreciate you. So on to the news quickly before we move on. We watched 2 movies this week. We didn't watch, we've watched televisual programming, but we're not going to talk about any this week because we did see 2 films.
We did. It's a 2-movie week.
That's right. A double feature.
Strap in, ladies and
A
gentlemen.
creature feature. But first, the one piece of news that I have is TV talk shows are being attacked as cultural rots. Do you think that like Sally Jesse Raphael and Jerry Springer are cultural rot?
Quite possibly, but I still really enjoy them. I mean, like the Maury episodes where they're trying to find out who's the father. Those are my favorite.
I'm not familiar with that.
No?
I don't think I've ever seen Maury.
Oh. Okay. That's weird.
Okay. I'm just saying that's not something I'm hip to.
Okay.
I'm not hip to be square to that.
You don't watch daytime talk shows?
Not a lot. I've seen Jerry Springer's the one
Okay.
that everyone talks about. The phenom. And I've seen a couple episodes of Jerry Springer. I actually have a couple of friends that are aspiring actors and actresses that have been contacted by the Jerry Springer show to be, quote, guests.
Interesting.
So I don't know that all of them are completely on the up and up. I think they're staging some of this stuff to be outrageous.
You know what, though? I would wish that people would keep their mouths shut because I like the illusion.
You know what's a fun show to watch is something called... Actually, maybe I have seen Maury on... I'm aware of who Maury Povich is. He's married to Connie Chung. I know who he is. Mm-hmm. But I might have seen clips of his show on this show. It's called Talk Soup.
Okay.
It's on the E! Network. Now, I know you don't have cable.
Right.
So I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I have not.
But it's very good, very funny. They show clips from different talk shows, and they make fun of them.
Okay.
Very good.
Which talk show was it where that guy got beat up?
Jerry Springer, I guess, probably. There's fights on there. I don't know what you're talking about. What guy got beat up? Are you talking about Geraldo Rivera?
Yeah.
When he got the chair in the face?
Yeah.
That was about maybe 10 years ago or so. That was a while ago, but yeah.
Okay. Just saying that's cultural rot, I guess.
I suppose. But anyway, there's 2. William Bennett, apparently, the former U.S. Secretary of Education, and Joseph Lieberman, senator from Connecticut, who is a Democrat. They are also Senator Sam Nunn. They're joining the fight. Another Georgia Democrat. They want to clean up television, I guess.
A fight against TV.
These shows increasingly make the abnormal normal and set up the most perverse role models for our children and adults, said Joseph Lieberman. Now, here's the thing. Democrats do this. And what's her name? Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife.
Okay.
She leads like a fight against this kind of stuff too. There's too much like sex in our TV. There's too much violence in our movies. There's too much, swearing and stuff in our music or like calls to violence and stuff like that. I'm totally against censorship. We are creators,
Right.
and ourselves, and I'm just not big on censorship. To me, if you don't want your kids to watch that stuff, and there's stuff out there that if I had children, I wouldn't want them to watch, and there's stuff out there that I'm sure a responsible parent wouldn't want their kids to watch. That's your job, is to parent your child and make sure that they're not watching that. And also, the biggest thing is, because the argument will be that they can't, you can't be there 24 hours a day, right?
Right.
Which is true. But your job as a parent is to instill your values to your child so that when you're not there and they're faced with a choice, they make the correct decision.
I guess. I mean, did you make the correct decision when you were, like, alone and cable was available and you were a young child?
I don't know what you mean. What's the correct decision?
Did you not watch stuff that your parents wouldn't want you watching? Did you watch slasher movies and Cinemax and all the stuff that you weren't supposed to?
Well, my sister showed me my first Friday the 13th movie, Friday the 13th Part 2, when I was, like, I think 8.
Right.
So, I mean, I didn't make that decision. My sister showed it to me, right? And, I mean, I've watched slashers and stuff like that, but my mom has never been one of the people to be like, oh, you shouldn't watch that. You shouldn't, do this.
Okay, so your mom wasn't doing that censorship job of a parent, it sounds like. But you weren't making the right choices either.
But is it wrong for a young kid to watch slasher movies?
Well, I also watched slasher movies and horror movies when I was a young kid, and it messed me up.
Oh, you're a violent sociopath now?
No, but I got, like, a little bit off for a while. They had to have me talk to somebody.
Well, I think I knowing your case a little bit, as your professional counselor, knowing your case a little bit,
right.
I think you were younger than most.
Yeah.
When you, I think that the age you were was pretty young.
Yeah, I was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's probably too young for a lot of those movies. I mean, I think 8 was probably a little too young. 8 and 9, like 8 and 9 years old.
I'm just saying, I think that most kids, given the opportunity to watch something they're not really supposed to, would choose to watch it.
Depends on how old you are. Here's the other thing is why would your parents not be around when you're 8 and 9? I don't know. What I'm saying is I'm not for censorship. That's what I'm saying. And I don't think that it causes people to be violent. Like, look at the Middle East, where they don't have... I don't even know if they have television. If they
goodness,
do,
I'm sure they do.
Well, they don't have the kind of, entertainment and MTV and stuff like that we do over there. They certainly don't. It's very, closed in and everything.
They have real life violence, though. They have wars and things.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They don't need all that to be super violent, do they?
I guess not, but they also have it being modeled, whether on television or in real life. It's still being modeled.
But here's the thing. Violent television and violent, video games and stuff like that, those aren't popular. Those aren't popular, and then people become violent because of them. People are violent inherently, and therefore those are popular types of things. Those are TV shows with violence, video games with violence are popular not because they're making us violent. We make them violent. People are violent, and we make violent entertainment.
Okay, well, I mean, that is definitely one opinion. I don't think we want to turn our tapes into political ramblings. We want to focus on entertainment, right?
All right, whatever.
So, speaking of violent things to watch,
we watched 2 things that were pretty violent.
Yeah, they both were. You're right.
What do you want to talk about first?
I think the thing that we saw most recently, which would be Halloween.
Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers.
It was truly terrible.
The curse of Michael Myers is having to sit through Halloween movies every couple of years. Holy shit. I mean, the last one they had was 1989. So it's been 6 years. But that's not long enough.
I mean, it was bad. Like, it started out bad. It got a little bit better. and then it just went all the way down the toilet.
That's a very succinct review. The original Halloween is a good movie. A well-made. It's still kind of schlocky, but it's well made, and it's about ramping up suspense. There aren't a ton of kills in that movie, so it's a lot of it's about ramping up suspense, and it has more in common with Psycho, a movie that it's obviously there's obvious parallels between Halloween and Psycho. Both there's characters named Loomis in both movies.
Really?
Yeah. And that's where Dr. Loomis gets his name from. There's a Loomis in Psycho, and Jamie Lee Curtis, her mother Janet Leigh, is the first victim in Psycho in the shower, and she, Jamie Lee Curtis, her daughter, is in Halloween. This is the heroine of Halloween.
That's kind of cool.
So there's obvious parallels, and it's not really a slasher movie. It's
Right.
like it inspired the slasher genre, but it's its own thing.
It's a classic.
And it's a very good movie. 1978, very good film. But every sequel that's come after that kind of sucks. Although I kind of like Halloween 3. Halloween 3 doesn't have anything to do with Michael Myers. It's a completely different story. They wanted to go away from... What they wanted to do is they wanted to make it into an anthology series where it's scary stories that take place on Halloween.
Okay.
But everyone hated it, and everyone was like, we want Michael Myers back. So they brought Michael Myers back in Halloween 4, and then ever since then, the story... The mythology of Michael Myers is what kills this movie and kills the entire Halloween franchise, because it weighs it down. It's just building on top of it piece by piece, and it doesn't need it, and it's so stupid.
Right.
I don't know how they're going to continue on with this, which they're obviously going to try to, the way this movie ends.
I don't know. I don't understand the end of the movie. I truly don't understand what was happening. Mm-hmm. The guy stays to finish some business, and he's screaming, and Jason's body has disappeared, but his mask is there.
Yeah, he left his mask for some reason.
So who was screaming? Was it
Loomis.
Michael? I mean, not Jason. Michael.
No, that was Dr. Loomis screaming.
So was Michael killing him?
I don't know. It's ambiguous. It's particularly tasteless because Donald Pleasance, the great Donald Pleasance, died earlier this year, in February of this year. And this movie came out. This is his last film role. And the end of the movie is, if you haven't seen it, don't see it. Just don't even worry about it.
We're not spoiling anything because it's already spoiled all on its own.
Right. This movie's definitely spoiled.
It's bad.
But so the end of the movie is Donald Pleasance starts screaming. You see the mask, Donald Pleasance starts screaming. I guess we're supposed to assume that Michael's attacking him or killing him or whatever. And then it says, in memory of Donald Pleasance. you hear ah, in memory of Donald Pleasance. The guy's dead, it's...
Yeah,
it's not good. No. It's in really poor taste. I don't like the way this movie ended.
I want to know why he's not wearing his mask. He never gets unmasked, but now he's gone off to kill someone and left the mask behind?
No, they unmasked Jason a lot. Right. If we're comparing this to Friday the 13th, which sure. I understand comparing it to Friday the 13th, because those are true slashers. They just body count. But if we're comparing him to Jason, and that's the other thing too, is sometimes there's a lot of terrible Friday the 13th movies, but those can continue on and still kind of work because they don't care. There's no backstory. They don't give a shit about anything. I mean, in the first movie, Friday the 13th, this isn't a Friday the 13th discussion, but in the first movie, the killer turns out to be Mrs. Voorhees. It's not Jason. Jason died in the 50s. She killed the camp counselors that were supposed to be watching him when he drowned. Then she wants to kill all these counselors so that this thing never opens again. No mother has to go through this tragedy or whatever, right? She gets beheaded. And then at the end, it's like a fake-out type thing where Jason pops out of the water and grabs the last girl, but it just turns out to just be a hallucination. And then, she's like, oh, but the boys must still be there, right? So in the second movie, it's just Jason. The killer's just Jason, and he's an adult. And there is no how? What happened?
Right.
How did he not die in the lake? Did he die and live? Like, what is going on?
I was just thinking, like, aren't we going to talk about this in our Halloween episode, what you're talking about right now?
No, I wasn't going to go through the whole thing of Friday the 13th. Okay. I'm just pointing out that doesn't make sense, but they don't care.
Right.
And no one else seems to care. But with Halloween, it's like, they're like, oh, we got to come up with this weird convoluted backstory. But yeah, they unmask Jason in pretty much every Friday the 13th movie. They very famously don't unmask Michael Myers. Mm-hmm. It's always like, oh, he's almost unmasked, but you never see his face.
Right, like it happened in this movie.
You see his face exactly one time when he's a 6-year-old boy at the beginning of Halloween 1, and he's murdered his teenage sister. And you see that little boy's face, and that's the only time you see Michael Myers' face.
Okay.
But yeah, they do the great fake out where it's like, I'm going to unmask you. Oh, we didn't though. But Paul Rudd's in this movie.
Paul Stephen Rudd.
It says introducing, but we just saw him in
Clueless.
Yeah, they must have filmed this movie prior.
And Alicia Silverstone's in the other movie we watched.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Clueless reunion.
Yeah, and Jeremy London's in that movie too, and we just did Jeremy London's.
Yeah,
was in Mallrats.
That's a small world there in Hollywood, huh?
Apparently, yeah. This has now become a show where we just do either Paul Rudd, Alicia Silverstone, or Jeremy London movies.
Yeah, I guess so. They'll keep us working, and we could always switch to Kevin Bacon.
Oh yeah, Kevin Bacon's in so many things. Like when he orgasms glitter at the end of Footloose.
What?
He's like, he makes this face and then glitter like shoots off behind him.
I've never seen that movie, and that sounds really messed up.
No, you should watch it sometime.
I don't think I want to.
All right. Anyway, so this movie, is there anything good about it? You want anything that you can point to that's
good? It is genuinely creepy. In the beginning, they've got his cousin or his niece.
I don't remember
Jamie?
anymore. Yeah, it's Jamie. So this is what I'm talking about. This is why it's so dumb and hard to figure this stuff out. So Michael Myers, in part 2, we find out that Laurie Strode is Jamie Lee Curtis, is his sister that was given up for adoption, I guess, for some reason. I don't know why exactly. And then Jamie is her daughter. So it's his niece. Yes, correct.
Right, okay.
Okay, so that Jamie is his niece, and she's in this place with this cult or whatever, giving birth. That's the beginning of the movie.
They're wheeling her down a hallway into and it's like obviously like the tunnels of a hospital, right? Mm-hmm. But it leads into a room filled with candles that looks like, some kind of like devil worship place. It looked like the beginning, like the end of Rosemary's Baby.
I was going to say it's Rosemary's Baby, yeah.
And I just, like, how? If they're in a fucking hospital, how?
I don't know. They own the hospital, I guess. They control it.
So
everyone that works there is part of this cult.
Right. So that made
Apparently
no sense.
It's super easy to get a lot of people involved in a cult.
Right. And she has the baby. One of the nurses helps her escape. Mm-hmm. And then the nurse gets killed by Michael. That's the first time we see him.
Yeah, what is he? Is he security? Michael's just like chilling at this hospital. He's just like, all right, I'm ready, boys. Whenever you need it.
I mean, I thought, and maybe I was just being kind and like filling in some gaps because I thought that maybe he was a patient at the hospital at the time and was escaping.
No.
So I don't know what the fuck he was doing there.
He's part of this cult too.
Okay,
that's what we learn. I think, and here's the thing. I saw part 5 with the little girl with the knife.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I don't remember much about it, but
yeah, and I think I saw part 4 as well. But it's been 6 years,
right,
or whatever, 6 years, 7 years since I've seen it, and I only saw it once, and I don't remember liking it that much. I didn't really retain much of it, and I have no idea. I think that maybe they touched on the culty stuff in the at least the last one, maybe like something about bloodlines or something like that. I think came into it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, and they're saying in this movie that Jamie is the last of his bloodline, but she's not because she gave birth to a baby.
She's got a baby, yeah.
And he follows her and kills her, but she hid the baby before he kills her. So this is where, I mean, like, it's just amazingly stupid thing after amazingly stupid thing.
Well, she's running away from him. He can drive a car. I've never understood this. He went to an institution when he was 6 years old, and then when he was like 20 or 21 in the first Halloween, he comes back and starts killing people. I think it's 15 years later, so he's 21 years old. Who taught him to drive?
Right.
He's been in an institution since he was 6. How does he know how to drive? And he's a good driver in that movie. And he's doing pit maneuvers and like knocking people off the road and shit.
Right?
Like, how are you such a good driver, Michael Myers?
So
Dr. Loomis taught him how to drive, and he's regretted it ever since. Sometimes I might need you to take me to the store for Haagen-Dazs, Michael.
Right.
Even though you're pure evil.
But he kills her, and by the way, he impales her, just like he impaled the nurse. Like, he loves to fucking impale people. The whole movie, he's just either stabbing someone or pushing them into things.
I honestly think he's just trying to work out his traps. Like his trapezius muscles and his triceps. He's just like, I gotta get lifted. All right, there we go. He's doing a lift and a press. That's what it is.
But the most ridiculous thing, I think, in the whole movie is that
Paul Rudd's acting.
Paul Rudd finds the baby.
Yes.
Like the next day, she hid it in the bathroom. In like underneath, it was like underneath the sink.
It was a garbage can or whatever, some kind of metal container, like by the sink or next to the sink, in the men's room, in a bus station, and somehow, like Paul Rudd goes there, the baby hasn't made any sounds apparently during the entire time. It's just been chilling, I guess, and then the baby starts crying when Paul Rudd's in there, and he grabs the baby and leaves with it. How does he know this baby's there? How does he know this baby is related to her?
Right.
How does she know anyone that has any chance of getting this baby safe is going to find this baby?
She doesn't.
It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. The reason he comes there is because a Howard Stern, like, DJ is doing a show. And the guy's like, oh, it's almost Halloween night in Haddonfield, Illinois. You guys hate Halloween because Michael Myers is the most brutal killer ever in the world. And we're going to talk about this and make jokes. And she apparently, what's her name? Not Lori, Jamie. Apparently Jamie can't get a hold of the police. She tries to call. She's got the baby and she tries to call the police when she's still at the hospital trying to get away from Michael Myers. And then she can't get a hold of him, so she calls the radio station.
Right.
And Paul Rudd hears her. And she's like, Michael's coming. You gotta help me.
Well, and she's calling out to Dr. Loomis. Mm-hmm. But nobody knows where she is.
Right, exactly.
She's not like, hey, come here.
And Paul Rudd figures it out because he has a reel-to-reel tape in his room. And he, like, does something where he cranks up the background noise or something like that, and he can hear like the I don't know, the frickin' like, oh, this is this hospital or whatever.
No, it was
hey Tommy, it's this hospital.
I thought it was like the train announcement.
Maybe it was the train announcement. I don't know.
And that's why he asked if a train had come in from Pontiac last night.
Pontiac, Michigan.
Sure.
No, I assume
it was.
I assume Pontiac, Illinois.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is a Pontiac, Illinois, but I assume there is. Because this whole thing takes place in Illinois. Anyway, so that's how he figures it out, and he ends up finding the baby. Most convoluted thing in the world.
This movie makes things like more difficult than they have to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like later when this radio DJ is
talk about this
doing some kind of event for this town. They're like reigniting Halloween because apparently they haven't been having Halloween celebrations. And
we're going to have Halloween again for the first time because there's no way Michael Myers is coming back this time.
He finds out that this kid who helped put on this event lives in Michael Myers' old house. And he's like, oh, we're going to go and record there.
Yeah, this is the when you say he, you mean the radio DJ.
Yeah.
The radio DJ, the Howard Stern wannabe, decides to come and film from Haddonfield. And yeah, he finds out that the guy lives there and he's like, oh, we're going to go record from there.
And Michael Myers is already in the house where the DJ's supposed to go.
Yeah, he's killed the two parents.
But he somehow magically is now in this guy's car and kills him in his car before he gets to the house and then goes back to the house to kill more people.
Why did he kill that dude?
Which dude?
The radio DJ, Howard Stern.
Oh.
Why did he kill him? Wwhy did he
kill anyone?
Why did he even go there to kill that guy? I mean, was he just hiding out in the van like maybe I'll get some sleep and then of course everyone that ever dies fucking insults Michael Myers unknowingly. It's like a comedy where it's like, oh, he's right behind me, isn't he? Because he's like, yeah, we're gonna do it from that pussy Michael Myers house. Like, why does he say that?
Right.
And then Michael's like, oh no, you didn't, and he kills him.
He like magically heard him from across town, and
I don't get it.
Or maybe he was listening to the radio, but I really doubt it.
He wasn't saying it on the radio. He was saying it to like his producer or something. But yeah, he was talking on, I think he was talking on a cellular telephone. So he must have had a lot of money.
Yeah.
Those things are rare. Rarer than the steak that, I don't like rare steak.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes no sense. He should have waited till he got to the house. He said he was going to the house. Michael could have done all his killing at the house.
Yeah. Save him time. Don't make it so difficult.
Central location. You got to plan out your kills better, Michael.
And fewer sets for the movie people. You know, come on.
He wanted cardio.
Get it together.
He did the lifts. Now he wanted to get some cardio, and that's what it was. A brisk walk, half a mile to that van, and then half a mile back to the house. That's what it was.
And then how about the killing of the dad? That was the worst, most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Well, and they had to make the dad the most over-the-top piece of shit dad in any movie ever. He says to Kara, that's the main girl's name. By the way, Paul Rudd plays Tommy somebody, the kid that Jamie Lee Curtis babysits in the first movie. Right. That's who he's supposed to be, all grown up. And this Kara is another Strode. I think Laurie's... I guess, well, it's the adopted family, so they're not technically blood, but that would be her uncle, Jamie Lee Curtis's uncle, and his family. And I guess she had a kid when she was young, this little kid Danny, who's hearing voices, and seeing like a guy in a hood, like he sees Deep Throat from the movie Deep Throat, basically. Right. He's like, Danny killed some people. And Nixon recorded himself. Well,
and he's been, drawing like devil signs and pictures of murdering people.
Right.
I don't know why his mom is so chill about that.
I don't either. It's weird.
If I were her, I would have been seeking some professional help.
But apparently, so she moved back. She got pregnant a while ago. She moved back into the house. And the dad's like, yeah, everything was going fine until you and your little bastard moved back in. And then he smacks her across the face and makes her nose bleed. And the whole thing is like, they really go over the top with like, let's write this dad completely unrealistic.
So I guess maybe so we wouldn't be upset that he has the worst kill in the whole world.
His head explodes from electricity.
It's so stupid.
Another thing that would never happen.
Never.
But I guess this is a series in which this Michael Myers dude just keeps getting shot and stabbed and just keeps coming back.
Also, Michael is standing in water because he had the washing machine with an unbalanced load. Right. And it leaked water all over the basement.
What was the point of that, by the way?
I don't know.
Because at first I thought the mom's body was going to be in there, but then later we discover she was put in like the attic or whatever, and she pops down. I don't know how he rigs that up, by the way, for her to just pop down with perfect timing.
I don't know.
But apparently he was just doing laundry.
Right,
Like,
he put the bloody sheets in there.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
But he's standing in water, holding the guy up to get him electrocuted, holding up some wires or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay, why isn't he also electrocuted?
I don't know.
He should have been.
Yeah.
What? Why?
Maybe he just takes it better.
Yeah, the other guy's head explodes, but he's okay. That makes sense.
Well, none of it makes sense because you could get electrocuted, I suppose, to a point where you literally catch on fire. I don't know how many volts that would have to be or whatever. I'm not going to experiment with it. I'm not going to speculate on it. I'm not an expert on this kind of stuff. But I know that you could get volts strong enough if you were holding it, like, you know, that it could actually set your insides on fire and stuff like that, right? But not explode. What's igniting?
Yeah.
What's igniting in his head?
Ugh.
You know what I mean? There is nothing to ignite there.
It was gross. It was just for, disgusting.
It was for gore's sake. Because that's unfortunately what these movies have devolved into. And thank God John Carpenter has nothing to do with them anymore. Basically, he just sits in his office and smokes 4,000 cigarettes a day and collects royalty checks because people are like, "Hey, John, can we make another Halloween movie without your involvement or input in any way?" And he's like, "Yep, go ahead." That's John Carpenter, basically.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, so then eventually they kill him. They inject a bunch of serum into him for some reason. I don't understand what the serum is supposed to be.
Oh, after, by the way, all of them ending up back at the mental hospital where we started.
Yeah, because it turns out that the guy, the doctor that recruited Loomis, because he really wants Loomis to be part of his cult, apparently, he called them in, and like everyone in the town, basically, that's left alive is part of this cult. And they want to do, I don't even know what they want to do. They want to do something. They want to make another Michael Myers or something. They want this evil, harnessed or something like that. So Michael Myers comes in there and kills all the doctors and shit.
Because he doesn't want whatever it is they're doing,
Apparently, yeah. He was cool with it at the beginning of the movie, but now he's not. And they stumble into this room where there's a bunch of fetuses. I guess those are failed attempts. This kid's supposed to be like, maybe this kid's going to be another Michael Myers.
Yeah.
But they finally succeeded. But there's a bunch of fetuses that I guess are failed attempts or whatever. Paul Rudd finds some weird yellow liquid in vials or in syringes and just injects Michael Myers with it several times. Don't know what it's supposed to be.
It didn't appear to do anything to him either, just FYI. I mean,
he just didn't like it.
What he ended up doing that was supposed to make us believe he killed him was bashing his head in with a pipe. Yeah,
Kara finds the worst prop pipe I've ever seen. It looks like it comes out of Super Mario, but like I expected a chomp plant to come out of it. It looks horrible.
Yeah.
He beats the shit out of him with it, and his face gets all bloody, and then he throws it down. Like, you can tell it's foam by how hard he forces it down to the ground.
Right.
The way he throws it. Because he doesn't drop it like it has any kind of weight. He throws it at the ground. And then he walks away. And they're all leaving, and they're like, "Hey, Loomis, you want to come with us to the next movie?" And he's like, "No, I'm probably going to die before this movie's released.
Right.
So I can't be in the next movie, so I'm going to stay here because I've got business to attend to." And then he screams, and then it says, "In memory of fucking Donald Pleasance." And that's how one of the greatest actors of the silver age of movies fucking goes out in this piece of shit film.
Yeah, what a bummer.
It's not the worst slasher movie I've ever seen, but it's not good. I mean,
it's not good.
I don't know what else. See, we watched it because it's around Halloween.
We watched it because we wanted to be creepy.
But I don't know if there's any alternatives other than going to the video store and renting a better movie,
which we did.
Well, yes, we'll talk about on our little special what different movies that we watched.
No, I mean,
Oh, yes, we watched a better. Well, yeah, it's a better movie. Okay,
It is a better movie.
It's a better movie, but
It's not a great movie, but it's better.
It's a better movie. But yes, we rented a direct to video movie as well
with Alicia Silverstone because she's awesome.
But I was tipping the fact that on our special we're going to be talking about movies that we rented and stuff.
So it's no longer a surprise, but.
Well, they don't know what it's going to be exactly. What other kind of we talk about movies on the show? What other kind of surprise could it be?
We also talk about music.
We
and
committed
television.
several murders over the course of the last 2 months. Here are the clues. Figure out who the victims are. That was going to be the surprise.
Shut up.
I'm pretty sure they could figure out on our movie review show that we were going to review horror movies. But they don't know which ones.
We don't just review movies is what I am saying, but that's fine.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. It's Future Mark and Future Carol here.
Hey, what's up?
We're here to talk to you about an exciting sponsor for our show called MyBookie.
I'm very excited.
Are you familiar with MyBookie's work?
No, not really.
So you're aware what a bookie is?
Yes.
We saw Hidden Gems. They're guys that sit inside vestibules and steam while you win a basketball bet and then shoot you in the head afterwards.
Okay, so
Spoilers
I don't think we should be working with them then.
Spoilers for Inside Gems. Or Hidden Gems or Uncut Gems, or whatever the hell it's called.
That Adam Sandler piece of crap, yeah.
Yeah. So, no, MyBookie, though, they take the middleman, the guy that shoots you in the head, out of the equation. And instead... You just go to mybookie.ag and you say, hey, this basketball game's going on right now. I think that I will bet on it, and I'm going to place a safe and secure bet here at MyBookie, and then when I win, I'll be able to cash out really easily.
And that's all, like, legal and stuff now?
Yes, absolutely.
That's so cool. I didn't really realize that, you could do that.
Yep. The internet is an amazing thing. And so is the winning season, which is returning to MyBookie. You know what the winning season means, Carol? The winning season means doubling your first deposit. So all you have to do is go to mybookie.ag, use our promo code, which is RetroFees, and they will match dollar for dollar up to $1,000 on your first deposit.
Wow, that's a good deal.
You put $1,000 in, they say, here's $1,000 to go nuts with.
Should we do that?
Yeah, let's put $1,000
do
in. Yeah, absolutely. It's just there's you're stuck in the house. You're not driving all the way to the casinos, which aren't open, or they are open, but they're not supposed to be open, or you have
or they're
to
in your
social
buddy's
distance.
basement right now.
Do you want to avoid coronavirus? Sit in your house and bet.
Watch sports and go on mybookie.ag.
AG. Yeah, that's right. That stands for always good. Every play you want to make is waiting for you at MyBookie. It is simple. Make your picks, win big, collect your cash.
Well, that does sound simple.
Yep.
I think you would need to talk to me quite a bit about all this different sports jargon first, but
all you need to know is to use the promo code RetroFees and double your first deposit. It's a no-brainer.
Yay.
Back to 1995.
It's so much better there.
Anyway, so the other movie that we watched was...
The Babysitter.
The Babysitter. The Babysitter's Club. Those are books, right?
Those are books that I read when I was a very young little girl.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know they were out that long. Ah!
Jerk.
Yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, The Babysitter with Alicia Silverstone.
So, the movie...
And Jeremy London.
Yeah, and Jeremy London from Mallrats.
Yep.
And I don't remember who the other dude is.
I don't know any of the other... there are other people in this movie, like the guy that knocks up Kirstie Alley in the first Look Who's Talking.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys in this movie that's hosting the party,
right.
But I don't know. I think his name is George Siegel, but I don't know most of the other actors. I know Jeremy London because of Mallrats, and I know Alicia Silverstone because she's super popular now.
Yeah.
This is another one where this was definitely filmed before Clueless. This is more in the crush range than Clueless.
Yeah.
Because she definitely would have done a better movie to follow up Clueless.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I don't know. I didn't hate it, I think, as much as you hated it. But I really like her and her acting and stuff. So
she's fine in the movie. I didn't hate it, but it's not great. So are we going to talk about it, or are we just going to talk around it?
So all the guys in this movie are fantasizing about Alicia Silverstone.
Because she's the hottest thing in the world, right, guys?
She is.
You couldn't help but fantasize about Alicia Silverstone.
I think she is pretty hot.
She is cute. She makes cute.
Okay.
But she's not hot. She looks young.
Uh-huh.
She is young.
Yeah, so am I. You think I'm hot?
Yeah, but you don't look like a little kid.
Anyway.
She looks younger than she is, and she's already young. She looks younger than us, and she's probably, I don't know, you guys speculate if she's about the age we are, slightly older than we are, or we're slightly older than her. You speculate.
But the dad in the movie is, like, obvious.
Which dad?
She's babysitting.
Yes, that's right. She's babysitting. Well, let's set it up. They didn't watch the movie.
Okay, fine. The movie starts with her walking to her babysitting job. Mm-hmm. And this kid, Mark, comes up and wants to hang out with her.
It sucks.
And she's, like, very hostile about telling him that she does not want to hang out with him.
I don't want to hang out with you.
She's got to babysit.
That's right.
So she gets to the babysitting job, and the dad is drooling all over her.
Oh, it's so creepy. He's this big, bloated, middle-aged dude. And he's like, ugh, you look good.
Yeah, you're looking good. Now, his wife got all pretty. They're going to a party. She's all dressed up.
We get to see her in a bra, and she's got her pantyhose that she's lacing up and everything. She's also middle-aged, obviously, so it's not like she's, but I think they intentionally show the undergarments. Because it's like, she's getting that dress on and everything, but they want us to know she's dressing up sexy tonight.
Yeah,
she wants to feel sexy.
Yeah, she's obviously, like, trying to look nice for her husband that she's going out on a date with.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're going to a party.
And he doesn't acknowledge at all that she looks nice.
No. And in fact, quite the opposite later.
And he is telling the babysitter how cute she looks, what a nice outfit she has on and stuff.
Yeah, oh, look at those legs.
What a dick.
Are you a tennis player?
He's such a dick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the wife is already upset, as she should be. They get to the party, and he starts talking shit about his wife to the other partygoers.
Well, the dad, the George Siegel dad,
yeah,
who's the dad of Mark, by the way. The party they're going to is Mark's parents.
Yeah,
creepy black-haired Mark, not this Mark.
Right,
it's bad Mark. I can only assume he spells his name with a C. And so they go to that party, and the dad says, Mark's dad says to the mom of the babysitting couple, I don't remember any of these people's names. He's like, oh, you're looking younger every day, or he gives her like just a nice, like compliment, right?
Yeah.
And her husband like scoffs. He's like, are you kidding me? Like, look at these wrinkles, or look at what the fuck?
What he said was, the secret is she's putting back on her baby fat with all that Haagen-Dazs.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
she just had a baby.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Oh, jerk. So then she switches to drinking straight vodka because she is really upset.
Yeah, she's fucking done.
She wants to get fucked up.
Yeah, she's getting hammered at this party.
And she
fantasizes
about the guy who complimented her.
Yeah, she's so starved for attention that she has elaborate fantasies about this dude now.
Yeah. Well, this, creepy dad of the babysitting family is continuously thinking about the babysitter and different scenarios that he could find her in. Like, his wife had suggested that she thinks that she took a bath last time that she was there.
And invited her boyfriend over.
Right. So now he's, fantasizing about her in the bathtub and fantasizing about finding her with her boyfriend. And creepy stuff. Like, oh, get out of here. Like, laughing at the boyfriend's penis.
You call that? Like, he pulls down his his pants or something, and he's like, "You call that thing a penis or whatever? Get out of here. You'll be lucky if you get your clothes. Maybe I'll mail them to you and stuff." Yeah, there's a lot of guys watching other guys have sex with her in their fantasies.
It's very weird.
The whole thing's weird, and the fantasies become more and more violent and disturbing as the movie goes on. They don't ever get to like really bad, like hard R fantasies or anything like that. But I mean, they're ramping up. They start off as like, you know, like, because I think the very first one, he's driving in the car, and she's in the car, and she's like, "Oh, you look so handsome today," or whatever. And he's like, "Why don't we take the long way home?" And she's and stuff,
right?
And that's like a pretty normal, like, I guess, garden variety fantasy or whatever, right? And then it gets like at one point in one of the fantasies, he kills her.
He kills her? The dad?
Yes. Her blood is fucking like all over the bathtub, because it's one of those bathtub fantasies. And then he turns around and his wife's there and the police are there, and he's like, "Oh, you know," like, and she picks up a gun and shoots him.
Oh, that was his nightmare that woke him up, I think.
But still, that's part of his fucking fantasy life.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of bathtub fantasies, and it's not just the dad. Mm-hmm. It's also the young boy that she's babysitting.
Yes. Yeah. Probably like 11, 12-year-old kid.
Her boyfriend, who is played by Jeremy London.
Yep.
And this Mark kid. We are seeing all of their fantasies. Apparently,
they used to be friends, and he comes up after he asks his girlfriend out. He comes up and he's like, "Hey, how come? Why aren't you hanging out with her?" And she's like, "She's babysitting." And he's like, "Well, why aren't you over there? Like having sex with her and stuff like that." Everyone's really super creepy too in real life.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get to it in a second, but he says all that stuff. And then he's like, "Oh, you probably haven't had sex with her yet or whatever. I used to go out with her. You're a very lucky man if my memory serves me right."
What a dick move.
And he's like, "What do you mean that you were with her?" And he's like, "Oh, I date a lot of girls, He doesn't get into it, right? But it's clear that he's like, "I've had sex with your girlfriend." And he convinces him, this Mark kid convinces Jeremy London for them to hang out tonight.
Yeah.
And they have this very tense relationship. Eventually, at one point, they go to Mark's house where the party's going on because they're going to get some beers. And Mark's got this whole elaborate plan of he's going to get over to her where she's babysitting.
Yeah, he borrows the car. He asks his dad if he can have the keys to the car. He gets some beers. They've already smoked some weed.
Yeah. He says, but when they get to the party, like, Mark's dad is very taken by Jeremy London. He's like, "Oh, you got that scholarship, and you're going places and stuff like that. You got the Rotary scholarship, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did, sir," and everything. And they're like, Mark says, "This is your babysitter's boyfriend." And one of the other dads that's there, not related to anybody, but one of the other dads is like, "What the hell are you doing here then?" Like,
yeah.
Basically, like, you should be over there fucking her.
Yeah, everybody is saying that. That's very weird.
There's a lot of drinking and a lot of middle-aged drinking and fantasizing going on. Because at one point they talk about, "Oh, you remember, the back seat of a car or the balcony of a movie theater and a little bit of thigh and and all this stuff, like, 17-year-old girl, because they're 17 too at the time." And George Siegel's like, "Well, those days are gone forever, boys. It's all downhill from here," something like that. And it's like, what a bunch of fucking sad old men.
Right?
You had beautiful wives, what the fuck?
Well, apparently they don't think they're so beautiful.
I guess. I don't know. Well, that's the, overweight's dad certainly doesn't.
Ugh. So the boys get the car and go over there. But like I was going to say, though, before we got into all of that.
I'm sorry.
There's a lot of fantasies that take place in the bathtub.
Yes, you said that like 3 times.
No, I didn't. No, I was trying to. I was leading up to it, but I never got to say it.
Okay.
And they all soap her back.
Yes.
Like, that's like the sexiest thing in the world. It's not. I don't understand. Do you think a back is sexy? Do you think soaping a back is a sexy thing?
No, but so here's the thing. This is I'm sure the conversation that went in this pitch meeting. Okay. So screenwriter and screenwriter first, then the producer second, right? In this scenario, the screenwriter is like, okay, so every guy's fantasying about her in the bathtub because eventually she's gonna have to take a bath in this movie. So they're all soaping her tits. It's a PG-13 movie. Okay, so they're soaping her back. I mean, that's probably what happened.
Yeah,
because I don't think it's rated R.
Yeah,
or maybe it is. I don't know. We see there's one like nude scene, not Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah, like a waitress. Like they just had to get some boobs in there, so they're showing Mark fantasizing about the waitress that he's talking to at the beginning of the movie.
Not much of boobs, though.
He could have just gone and had sex with her. Mm-hmm. She was very obviously interested in him, but for some reason he's obsessed with the babysitter.
The fantasy with her, like he had a belt out, something like that too.
He's a messed up dude.
There was some weird shit going on there.
Yeah,
and I think that was maybe, I don't even know if that was a fantasy. I think that
memory?
was like a memory.
Yeah,
because like they hinted that they had history together,
right?
But yeah, so then they end up going there, and like the whole time I'm like, Jeremy London, what are you doing? Like, why are you listening to this fucking devil on your shoulder?
Right, just go home, dude. Like, that's what he says in the beginning, that he has, like, practice early in the morning or something. He starts out, he's sitting in a diner reading The Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah, God.
Eating dinner, and...
Means he's super deep. He's reading Catcher in the Rye.
And then this douchebag starts in with him. But, like, his plan was to eat dinner, read his book, and go home and go to bed. Mm-hmm. Light did not go that way.
Do you think, though, that if that didn't happen, that she just would have gotten raped?
No.
No?
No.
Why?
Because Mark wouldn't have gotten in the house.
Oh, that's true.
That was the whole thing, is he kind of used him to get in the door.
Oh, wow. Crazy. But yeah, so they're there, and they're peeking through the window at her and shit like that. It's so weird. What are you doing, Jeremy London?
Yeah. Yeah, like, he seems like a nice enough, normal dude.
Yeah, I guess. His acting's better in this than it is in Mallrats, so I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he does all right.
But yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
She's eating a tub of ice cream out of the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
Who does that? Like, who goes...
From not your house.
Yeah, into someone else's freezer and gets out ice cream and just eats it with a spoon.
Mm-hmm. Only Alicia Silverstone.
And then she leaves it out too long. It melts. She spills it on herself and decides that she must wash her clothes, put on a bathrobe, and then get in a bath.
Take a bubble bath.
Like, what?
Sprinkle some Calgon in there.
So now it's like everybody's fantasy has come to life because she's wearing a bathrobe the rest of the movie.
All right. That's what everybody that was watching the movie wanted.
Oh, yeah. That bathrobe was super sexy.
Yeah.
White, fluffy hotel room bathrobe.
Yeah. Oh, is that from a Marriott? Ooh, that gets me going.
Right.
So he goes to the door, and she's like, what are you doing here? I told you I didn't want you to come here. And he's like, I just wanted to see you or whatever. And she basically slams the door in his face.
Mm-hmm.
And then
because she already told him. He already called, and she told him don't come.
And then they go up. I think they go up to the second floor and peek on her in the bathroom, which leads to another fantasy scene. It's like, and the whole time, like, there's some fantasies that this Mark has where he's pulling like Jason London or Jeremy London off of her and is like, you know, let me show you what a real man is going to do or whatever. And there's some where Jeremy London's just watching them. Like he wants to, I mean, the rape stuff makes sense because it's clear in his head that he's like, I must dominate and control and, prove I'm all that is man kind of stuff. Yeah. It's very, the whole thing's very disturbing. But so then he says, hey, do you think that she locked the door when she slammed it on your face? So he gets him to go and try the door. They both go in, and he's like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to call and pretend to be like an intruder, and then you'll rescue her.
Which
right?
I don't know how they did that. They did something with the phone. Like he called some other number that made it then call the house phone.
I think you can do that somehow. Like you can reroute it, but I don't remember how that is.
It's really creepy.
Yeah, it's not a star 69 thing because that's seeing who called.
Yeah.
If you do that, then you can see who called you.
But it costs money, guys. Don't do it obsessively.
99 cents every time.
Every single time.
Every phone bill has its star 69 charges.
Yeah. What was the plan? Did the plan go the way it was supposed to? I was a little lost on this.
The plan didn't go the way it was supposed to, but it worked out okay, I guess, at first anyway, because she turns around and sees Mark, and she's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And Jeremy London comes out. He's like, and she's like, "I'm rescuing you," or whatever.
No, Mark said he was rescuing her.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because she's mad at Jeremy London, and she's like, "You're drunk and stuff," because he was, because Mark kept shoveling booze at him, too.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I think it worked out the way that Mark wanted it to work out, but it didn't work out the way he said to Jeremy London it was going to work out. So then he's like, they go and sit down. She's wearing a bathrobe. He's like, "Hey, I don't want to drive because we've been drinking. Can we wait?" And she's like, "1 cup of coffee, and then you guys are going to leave." And she's like making the coffee. And Jeremy London's sitting next to her. Jason London's sitting next to her. No, it is Jeremy London. Jason London's his brother. The one from Dazed and Confused. Jeremy London's sitting next to her on the couch. Mark's looking at him and making eyes at him like, "Come on, try something." like what the fuck?
I think he was hoping for a threesome.
And then Jeremy London's making a face like, "Well, go someplace." So he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go get
Make
the coffee." Yeah. So he goes to the kitchen, but he just stands in the kitchen doorway and watches them. So he starts kissing Alicia Silverstone, and she's like, oh, like at first she's liking it and stuff. She's like, "Oh, stop," like that kind of thing, right? And then he grabs her boob, and she's like, "What the fuck?" Like,
yeah, she got really mad really fast.
because she's like, "Why? What are you doing?" Like, because he's trying to have sex with her, and she says something like, "Oh, you had sex with this guy, or whatever, didn't you? And you didn't tell me about it." And she's like, "We did not have sex, if that's what you're asking."
If that's what he told you, too.
Yeah.
She figures out that he put some shit in his head.
Yeah, she's like, "We dated. We did not have sex." And she's like, she's really mad at both of them. She wants him to leave. Mm-hmm. And then what happens next? I know the kid starts coming downstairs because he hears them.
Yeah.
And they get into a fight, but I'm trying to remember exactly how it starts.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That's what it is. That Mark kid says, "I don't know what he's doing. Like, I didn't tell him anything." He's like, he wanted to come here. He drags me here. Apparently he's trying to put moves on you while I'm here. Is this what you wanted? Like he verbally like turns it all on him, right? And he's like, "You asshole," and he punches him. And when he punches him once in the face, like, Mark does a thing where like his head goes to the side, and then he looks at him. He's like, "Thanks." And then he starts beating the shit out of him. They start fighting and everything. She's screaming. I think
And that's when the kid comes down.
Yeah, and he calls 911. Mm-hmm. I think Mark slaps her at one point, like backhands her.
Well, I think he knocks Jeremy London out for a minute because when there's like this moment when she realizes it's her and him now, and she looks terrified and starts to run, and then he knocks her down. He's like about to rape her.
Yeah, he hits Jeremy London over the head with a lamp.
Yeah.
And then like smashes the lamp. And then he's going to try to rape her. Jeremy London comes to long enough to knock him off of her. She runs outside. Back at the party, real quick, the dad wanted to go and get medicine, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Because he wants to surprise her.
Yeah, he wants to catch her with her boyfriend or in the bathtub or whatever. But, like, he's claiming he has a headache. He wants to go home and get aspirin. They have aspirin at the house. He dumps the aspirin down the drain so he can have an excuse. Like, he's so drunk. He's so stupid.
They got no aspirin. They're both super drunk.
Yeah.
And she had just taken the key, so he couldn't drive drunk. Right?
She hid it in her bra. Of one place she knew he wouldn't look.
Right. So he comes in at the same time, like, George Segal's trying to comfort her. And she's been having fantasies about him and everything. And she keeps saying, "What will the neighbors think?" It was just like her catchphrase or something for these fantasies. And she tries to kiss him. She does kiss him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what's going on? Like, George Segal's like...
He's totally floored.
He's like, "What is going on? What's happening?" And his wife must be super trusting, too.
Well, and she had every reason to be, because he had every opportunity to take advantage. He didn't.
No, not at all. And... the dad comes in and sees them. He's like, "Oh, I see." How's it going? "Where's my key?" And all this stuff. So she gives him the key. He starts driving back to the house. So he's driving back to the house. They're cutting back and forth, him driving back to the house. They run outside. Alicia Silverstone runs outside. And they run into the street. She does anyway. And he sees her, and he's like, "Oh no!" And he like veers. At first, I was like, "He's gonna hit her,
Right.
kill her, and that's gonna be like the ultimate tragedy or whatever." Right? He veers and then runs into Mark and kills Mark.
Yeah.
And Jeremy London's just there, And then the dad gets put in a police car at the end of the movie because he's going to jail for vehicular manslaughter. Mark's dead, the would-be rapist.
In a body bag. His parents drive the wife home and are seeing their son in a body bag.
Yeah, dead. So what a bizarre turn of events, by the way. These two people, you invite them over to your old friends, you invite them over to their house, they're complete drunk menaces at your house. And then you're like, okay, one of them leaves and like, we'll drive you home, don't worry. They drive you home and one of the other ones killed your son. Like, what the fuck?
I felt so bad for them.
Worst party guests ever.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of how the movie ends. Like, Jeremy London goes to Alicia Silverstone, who's in the back of the police car, and she, obviously she's not in trouble.
No.
But they're taking her home there and trying to make sure she's okay and stuff like that. She's probably going to give a statement about all the fucking
crazy
bullshit
shit that happened. Yeah,
that went down. And she looks at him. What did she say to him?
What were you thinking? Mm-hmm. Which that is kind of ironic in this movie.
Right. Yeah.
She's like, I just don't understand. What were you thinking? That was it.
And then that's it. And like she's like, you don't got me anymore or whatever. And then
she didn't say that. That was the last line of the movie. Is what were you thinking? That's it.
But yeah, that's very artistic. But I'm sure they're not dating. Like,
well, yeah, I'm sure too. It was questionable whether or not they were still dating in the movie,
right? Because
it sounded at some point like he had tried to go too fast or too far or whatever, and she'd broken off with him before.
I like Alicia Silverstone, but I don't think this is great casting. No, you need somebody that I think it's plausible that every guy in this movie would be lusting after.
But you also need someone who can inspire lust while still appearing innocent. It has to be an innocent person.
Oh, God, I guess that's true.
And she is that.
I guess that's true.
So, I don't know. I think it was good.
Yeah, she's good in the movie. The movie's fine. It's not... So, it wasn't terrible.
It's a mind fuck.
It's not great, but it's worth a rental. If it's like, I mean, obviously we told you the entire plot of the movie, but it's worth a rental, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of messes with your mind.
Don't anticipate seeing Alicia Silverstone topless or anything, because that's not happening.
But there are boobs in the beginning of the movie, so.
Such as they are.
What does that mean?
They're not. They're beyond small.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah.
With those weird nipples.
Yep. It is. It's like, I've noticed that on smaller breasts sometimes, where it's like, it looks like the chest of a 12-year-old boy, except there's like a, big round, like Tootsie Roll on top or something. You know what I mean? Like a little pink Tootsie Roll.
Wow.
Well, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I can't describe it any better than that. But yeah, it's weird.
So, yeah.
I mean, flat-chested women everywhere. We have value.
Yeah, as people. Jeez.
Well, I don't want to alienate anybody that's listening that might not be Zoftic like you are.
Everybody has their own different tastes.
Correct. And everybody's beautiful in their own way. Mm-hmm. Except for Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon isn't ugly.
Kevin Bacon's skull looks like it just got the thinnest layer of skin put over it.
I mean, like, it's so weird because he has such a good career, and he's not that great looking. And
good career.
Well, he's in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
And usually people who get famous are pretty good looking.
Like Tom Cruise.
Right. Tom Cruise is very good looking.
Yes. Or, I don't know, name another one. Marlon Brando. Oh, yeah, Brad Pitt. Bradley Pitts. He's a new one.
Yeah.
He's a very good-looking guy.
That's it.
That is the show.
Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Those are the only ones. What about Brendan Fraser?
Oh, yeah, he's cute, too. Yeah. Good call.
He's tall. He looks tall.
Okay.
I think most actors are not super tall. He looks tall, though.
Maybe.
Anyway, that is our episode for the week. Carol, I don't know. Talk to them.
So, come back to hear about Mark's birthday and Halloween and all that.
We're going to talk about my birthday?
We are. Of course we are.
All right.
Tell your friends. Write us at latefee1994@AOL.com.
Mm-hmm.
And go to retrolatefee.com.
That's right. All right. We will see you next time.
Bye.